ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे। Okay, Canto 4, Chapter 6. Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva. Maitreya Uvacha अतद्देवगणाः सर्वे रुद्रानीकै प्रजापत् पराजिताः शूलपट्टिश निस्त्रिंश गदापरिघ मुद्गरैः सञ्चिन्न भिन्न सर्वाङ्गाः सर्विक्सभ्या भयाकुलाः स्वयंभुवे नमस्कृत्य कार्त्स्न्येनैतन्यवेदयन्. All the priests and other members of the sacrificial assembly and all the demigods, having been defeated by the soldiers of Lord Shiva and injured by weapons like tridents and swords, approached Lord Brahma with great fear. After offering him obeisances, they began to speak in detail of all the events which had taken place. Upalabhya puraivaitad Bhagavan Abjasambhavah Narayanascha Vishwatma na kasyad varam iyatuhu. Both Lord Brahma and Vishnu had already known that such events would occur in the sacrificial arena of Daksha, and knowing beforehand, they did not go to the sacrifice. And so Brahma and Vishnu anyway knows past, present, future, but looks like Brahma also knows the future. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaham Samatitani Vartamanani Charjuna. The Lord says, I know everything that has happened in the past and is going to happen in the future. Lord Vishnu is omniscient, and he therefore knew what would happen at Daksha's sacrificial arena. For this reason, neither Narayana nor Lord Brahma attended the great sacrifice performed by Daksha. Tadakarnya vibhu praha teji yasi kritagasi kshemaya tatra sabhuyan na prayena bhubhushatam. When Lord Brahma heard everything from the demigods and the members who had attended the sacrifice, he replied, You cannot be happy in executing the sacrifice if you blaspheme a great personality and thereby offend his lotus feet. You cannot have happiness in that way. Lord Brahma explained to the demigods that although Daksha wanted to enjoy the results of fruitive sacrificial activities, it is not possible to enjoy when one offends a great personality like Lord Shiva. It was good for Daksha to have died in the fight because if he had lived, he would have committed such offenses at the lotus feet of great personalities again and again. According to Manu's law, when a person commits murder, punishment is beneficial for him because if he is not killed, he might commit more and more murders and therefore be entangled in his fugitive lives for having killed so many persons. And therefore, the king's punishment of a murderer is appropriate. If those who are extremely offensive are killed by the grace of the Lord, that is good for them. In other words, Lord Brahma explained to the demigods that it was good for Daksha to have been killed. Because Prabhupada is talking about future events. Hmm. अथापि यूयं कृतकिल्बिषाभवं ये बर्हि शोभागभाजं परादुः प्रसादयध्वं परिशुद्धचेतसा Chipraprasadam praghi praghitangri padmam. You have excluded Lord Shiva from taking part in the sacrificial results, and therefore you are all offenders at his lotus feet. Still, if you go without mental reservations and surrender unto him and fall down at his lotus feet, he will be very pleased. So Brahma is advising that, yeah, you've done a great offense, but he'll still forgive. You won't fall at his feet. Lord Shiva is also called Ashutosha. Ashu means very soon, and Tosha means to become satisfied. The demigods were advised to go to Lord Shiva and beg his pardon, and because he is very easily pleased, it was certain that their purpose would be served. Lord Brahma knew the mind of Lord Shiva very well, and he was confident that the demigods, who were offenders at his lotus feet, could mitigate their offenses by going to him and surrendering without reservation. Of course, it's the quality of great personalities to forgive. Um, so they don't even see the offenses in others, and even if somebody comes and begs forgiveness, they'll immediately forgive. But conditioned souls, we don't like to forgive. We like to keep the grudge. So these are some great qualities that we have to develop. Ashasana jivitam advarasya lokah pala kupitena yasmin tamashu devam preya vihinam shamapayadvam hridi viddham duruptaihi. Lord Brahma also advised them that Lord Shiva is so powerful that by his anger, all the planets and their chief controllers can be destroyed immediately. Because this is what he does during the time of Pralaya, destruction. Also, he said that Lord Shiva was especially sorry because he had recently lost his dear wife and was also very much afflicted by the unkind words of Daksha. Under the circumstances, Lord Brahma suggested it would behoove them to go at once and beg his pardon. So this afflicted me does is not like we getting affected. It's just out of compassion that great personalities might feel bad for others who are materially stuck, engaged in envy and enmity and so on and so forth. नाहं न यज्ञो न च यूयम् अन्ये ये देहभाजो मुनयश्च तत्त्वं विदुप्रमाणं बलवीर्ययोर्वा यस्यात्मतन्त्रस्य का उपायं विधित्सेत्. Lord Brahma said that no one, not even himself, Indra, all the members assembled in the sacrificial arena, or all the sages, could know how powerful Lord Shiva is. Under the circumstances, who dare to commit an offense at his lotus feet? After Lord Brahma advised the demigods to go to Lord Shiva and beg his pardon, it was suggested how he should be satisfied and how the matter should be placed before him. Brahma also asserted that none of the conditioned souls, including himself and all the demigods, could know how to satisfy Lord Shiva. But he said, it is known that he is very easily satisfied, so let us try to satisfy him by falling at his feet. So all the demigods are discussing what to say, how to say, etc. Actually, the position of the subordinate is always to surrender to the Supreme. That is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. Lord asks everyone to give up all kinds of concocted occupations and simply surrender to him. So Prabhupada is translating Sarvadharman Parityajya. What is the meaning of this? Concocted occupations. What is the meaning? Any idea? Okay, what does occupations mean?
Our duty.
Our duty. No, Krishna here, Prabhupada is saying, or basically Krishna is saying concocted. Concocted means what?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it is usually means as to make something, like adding
Concocted means, yeah,
different
concocted means making up something. Yeah,
something.
some imagination. So Krishna is saying Sarva Dharman, whatever you so-called consider as dharma is all concocted. Hmm. How can it be concocted? Because that dharma also, which he is referring to there, is actually Varnashrama dharma, which he himself has given. Hmm. But Krishna is coming to the highest platform of Varnashrama dharma. Or actually, Varnashrama dharma means basically the framework for human beings to live in the material world is called Varnashrama dharma. If Varnashrama dharma is not followed, then it's animal life, which is what is Kali Yuga. So concocted means even that so-called dharma is not the highest. Um, so the real dharma is that we are servants of Krishna and we should serve him. So if we are not engaged in that, but we are engaged in other duties, then Krishna is saying, give up all that. So of course, when Krishna says give up all that here, literally also it means give up all that. That is the highest platform of surrender. Till we are able to give up all that, because we also have to live in this material world, we have certain responsibilities, etc. Maybe we are not able to do that immediately. At least we should give up the attachment to those occupations. And we should just do it as a matter of duty. And whatever we derive out of it, we should use for maintenance of our family. And of course, excess should be used in promoting Krishna consciousness. Mm. Unfortunately, I've seen that people have money, but they don't want to donate. Mm. They can do 10,000 rupees, they will do 1,000 rupees. And they feel happy. Okay, I did some, but that's not useful. That's not good enough for them. As in, they can do a lot more. So, because everybody is in their own world of sense enjoyment. So, these whole occupations that people are engaged in are a lower platform. And Krishna is saying, give up all that. Give up all that. Simply engage in eternal occupation and surrender unto me. Because if you think, oh, I have to give up, how can I give up all that? Then we will be afraid. Krishna is saying, don't worry, simply surrender unto me, I'll take care. That will protect the conditioned souls from all sinful reactions. See, look at this. Sinful actions and sinful reactions. Because when we are engaged in our concocted occupations only, we end up doing wrong things and we end up accumulating sinful reactions. So one is there is no scope for creating new sinful actions, and of course there is no scope for uh, Krishna is saying, I'll take away everything. So no question of suffering also because of sinful reactions. Of course that takes time. One has to come to the platform of full surrender. But it is, yeah, it is the assurance Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita. So just to summarize, so we have our occupations. That is okay. Not till the end of our life. That is okay up to a certain stage in our life where we have responsibilities to earn, etc., etc. Then, even when we are doing that occupation, we have to be unattached, nishkama karma, without attachment. And then, really, Krishna is saying these are all concocted. Really, what you should be doing is engaging in my service. And then at one stage, give up all this concocted occupation, completely surrender to Krishna and engage in his service. That is what is expected out of us. And when that happens, we will stop generating new karma. And old karma phala, Krishna is saying that I will destroy it, don't worry. Similarly, in this case, Brahma also suggested that they go and surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. For since he is very kind and easily satisfied, this action would prove effective. Sahittamaadishya suranajastु taihi samanvitah pitribhi saprejashaihi yayau swadhishnyan nilayam puro dvishaha kailasam adri pravaram priyam prapoho. After thus instructing all the demigods, the Pithas and the lords of the living entities, Lord Brahma took them with him and left for the abode of Lord Shiva, known as the Kailasa hill. Pitas are from the Pitruloka, ancestors. So this is the abode. Of course, this is not the actual abode, but this is the abode within Devi Dama, where Lord Shiva is present in Kailasa. The abode of Lord Shiva, which is known as Kailasa, is described in 14 verses which follow. So I see a lot of, um, I don't know how many of you are aware, I was not aware that Kailasa hill is just uh, only is actually few meters shorter than Mount Everest. And so many people have climbed Mount Everest. But till now, apparently not even one person has climbed Mount Everest. One person who has climbed Mount Everest, after climbing, became dumb, meaning he is not able to speak or do anything like that. So there are a lot of, so many of these um, people who climb these hills and all that. So they've given the what should we say, the special features of Kailasa which they cannot understand. Like for example, the magnetic compass stops working. Time, uh, the speed of time changes apparently. Um, so there are so many, like they feel different kinds of energies when they go near. So many different uh, kind of descriptions are there. Mm, of course, they're all mundane because what they're not able to understand, it's the abode of Lord Shiva. It's not simply materially possible for somebody to get there. So Shiva is residing there. So this place is very, very special and powerful because Shiva is powerful. Very powerful. So one cannot just like Mount Everest is, yeah, belongs to this mundane material world and it's just a hill and you have certain skills to climb, you can climb. But Kailasa is not like that. Because Lord Shiva resides. Actually, it's the Swargaloka because where Kubera lives, so there are demigods, and so this is Swarga. So you can't just enter into Swarga like that just because there's one mountain there. So can we just climb? No, we can't just climb. And this beautiful description of Kailasa, which nobody can actually see these descriptions. Now, all these people who are so-called climbers, hill climbers, etc. They can't see any of this because this is not visible to normal human being. Whatever description that's going to follow cannot be seen by mundane people. Janmaushadi tapo mantra yoga siddhena retaraihi jushtam kinnara gandharvair apsarobhir vritam sadam. The abode known as Kailasa is full of different herbs and vegetables, and it is sanctified by Vedic hymns and mystic yoga practice. See, sanctified by mystic yoga, by Vedic hymns. Thus, the residents of that abode are demigods by birth and have all mystic powers. So, this is Swarga. So, nobody can enter this just like that. And they have mystic powers and they have their own ways to protect themselves. So, it's like invaders. People who are trying to climb Kailas are like enemies, like some invaders coming, trying to enter somebody else's place without permission. So they have their own mystic powers. They don't have to do much to actually keep normal human beings at bay. Basic powers are good enough. Which are like things like this. The compass doesn't work, something else. Uh, Time becomes fast. All these kind of things, just mystic power. Besides them, there are other human beings who are known as Kinnaras and Gandharvas and are accompanied by that beautiful wives who are known as Apsaras or angels. So there are also other human beings. So Kinnaras, Gandharvas are also human beings, but they're superior human beings. They don't stay on earth. They stay in Swarga. And demigods are actually even elevated than Kinnaras, Gandharvas, etc. Right? But Kinnaras, Gandharvas also are staying in heavenly planets. And demigods are even more qualified and they're staying in the heavenly planets. Of course, Apsaras, sometimes it is said that they are prostitutes. Now here This verse is saying that Kinnaras and Gandharvas were married. The beautiful wives are known as Apsaras. Both of them are true. नानामणिमयी शृङ्गैर्नानाधातुविचित्रितैः नानाद्रुमलता गुल्मैर्नानामृगगणावृतैः. Kailasa is full of mountains. Kailasa is full of mountains, filled with all kinds of valuable jewels and minerals, and surrounded by all varieties of valuable trees and plants. Top of the hill is nicely decorated by various types of deer. But none of this is, like I said, none of this is visible. They just see one peak, one maybe, snowing, then it's snowy peak, or just like, yeah, something which, no, it's just one normal hill for people. They can't understand. नानामलप्रस्रवणैर्नानाकन्दरसानुभिः रमणं विहरन्तीनां रमणैः सिद्धयोषिताम्. There are many waterfalls, and in the mountains there are many beautiful caves in which the very beautiful wives of the mystics are found. मयूरकेकाभिरुतं मदान्धालिविमूर्छितं प्लावितैरक्तकण्ठानां पूजितैश्च पतत्रिणाम्. On Kailasa hill, there is always a rhythmical sound of peacocks' sweet vibrations, and the bees humming. Cuckoos are always singing, and other birds whisper amongst themselves. Ahvayantam ivodhasthair dvijan kamadhugairdrumaihi vrajantam iva matangair grinantam iva nirjharaihi. There are tall trees with straight branches that appear to call the sweet birds, and when herds of elephants pass through the hills, it appears that the Kailasa hill moves with them. When the waterfalls resound, it appears that Kailasa hill does also. It's a very mystic kind of place. Mandarai parijayataischa saralaischopa shobitam tamalai shala talaischa kovidara sanarjunaihi tu chuthai kadambair nipaischa nagapunnaga champakaihi पाटला शोक बहु पाटलाशोकबकुलैः कुन्दैः कुरबकैरपि. The whole of Kailasa hill is decorated with various kinds of trees, of which the following names may be mentioned, which most of them we won't know. Mandara, Parijata we know. Sarala, Tamala, Tala, Kovidara, Asana, Arjuna, Amrajati, Mango, Kadamba, Dhuli Kadamba, Naga, Punnaga, Champaka, Patala, Ashoka, Bakula, Kunda, Kurabaka. The entire hill is decorated with such trees which produce flowers with fragrant aromas. वर्णार्णशतपत्रैश्च वररेणुकजातिभिः कुब्जखैर्मल्लिकाभिश्च माधवीभिश्च manditam. There are other trees also which decorate the hill, such as the golden lotus flower. See, you don't know such things exist. The cinnamon tree, Malati, Kubja, Mallika, and Madhavi. Panasodumbarashvatha Plaksha Nyagrodha Hingubihi Bhurjair Pugai Rajapugaischa Jambuvihi. Kailasa hill is also decorated with such trees as Katha, jackfruit, Julara, banyan trees, Plakshas, Negrodhas, and trees producing asafoetida. Also, there are trees of betel nuts and Bhurja Patra, as well as Raja, Puga, blackberries, and similar other trees. I have no idea what these are all. खर्जूराम्रातकाम्रादैः प्रियाल मधुकेङ्गुदैः द्रुमजातिभिरन्यैश्च राजितं वेणुकीचकैः. The mango trees, Priyala, Madhuka, and Inguda. Besides these, there are other trees like thin bamboos, Kichaka, and varieties of other bamboo trees, all decorating the tract of Kailasa hill. There are different kinds of lotus flowers such as Kumuda, Utpala, and Shatapatra. The forest appears to be a decorated garden, and the small lakes are full of various kinds of birds who whisper very sweetly. There are many kinds of other animals also, like deer, monkeys, boars, lions, rukshas, shalyakas, forest cows, forest asses, tigers, small deer, buffalo, and many other animals which are fully enjoying their lives. There are varieties of deer such as Karanantra, Ekapada, Ashwasya, Brika, and Kasturi, the deer which bears musk. Besides the deer, there are many banana trees which decorate the small hillside lakes very nicely. There's a small lake named Alakananda, you might have heard of this, in which Sati used to take her bath, and that lake is especially auspicious. All the demigods, after seeing the specific beauty of Kailasa hill, were struck with wonder at the great opulence to be found there. According to commentaries called Sri Bhagavata Chandrika, the water in which Sati used to bathe was Ganges water. In other words, the Ganges flowed through the Kailasa Parvata. There's every possibility of accepting such a statement because Ganges water also flows from the hair of Lord Shiva. Since Ganges water rests on the head of Lord Shiva and then flows to the other parts of the universe, it is quite possible that the water in which Sati bathed, which was certainly very nicely scented, was Ganges water. ददृशुस्तत्र ते रम्यां मलकां नाम वैपुरीं वनं सौगन्धिकं चापि यत्र तन्नाम पङ्कजम्. Thus the demigod saw the wonderfully beautiful region known as Alaka in the forest known as Saugandhika, which means full of fragrance. The forest is known as Saugandhika because of its abundance of lotus flowers. Sometimes Alaka is known as Alaka Puri, which is also the name of the abode of Kuvera. Kuvera's abode, however, cannot be seen from Kailasa. Therefore, the region of Alaka referred to here is different from Alaka Puri of Kuvera. According to Veera Raghava Acharya, Alaka means uncommonly beautiful. In the region of Alaka that the demigod saw, there is a type of lotus flower known as Saugandhika that distributes an especially fragrant scent. Some technical stuff. Nanda Chalaka Nanda Cha Saritau Bahyatah Puraha Tirthapada Padambhoja Rajasativa Pavane. They also saw the two rivers named Nanda and Alakananda. These two rivers are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Person of Godhead Govinda, which is Ganga. Yayosurasтрiyakshtar avaruhya swadhishnyatah क्रीडन्ति पुंस सिञ्चन्त्यो vigahya ratikarshitaah. My dear Kshata, Vidura, the celestial damsels come down to those rivers in their airplanes with their husbands, and after sexual enjoyment they enter the water and enjoy sprinkling their husbands with water. It is understood that even the damsels of the heavenly planets are polluted by thoughts of sex enjoyment, and therefore they come in airplanes to bathe in the rivers Nanda and Alkananda. It is significant that these rivers Nanda and Alkananda are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Person of Godhead. In other words, just as the Ganges is sacred because its water emanates from the toes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. So whenever water or anything is in touch with devotional service to the Supreme Person of Godhead, it is purified and spiritualized. The rules and regulations of devotional service are based on this principle. Anything in touch with the lotus feet of the Lord is immediately freed from all material contamination. So Prabhupada is saying, even the damsels of heavenly planets are polluted by thoughts of sex enjoyment. So this whole thing, the basis on which this whole material world is running, which is sex enjoyment, is pollution, contamination. Which is why Shastra expects human beings to remain like human beings and not become animals, and engage in sex uh, only for procreation, only for producing children, not for enjoying like cats and dogs. Yeah, it's not. Uh, it's more of an activity for conditioned souls who can't see any higher platform of happiness, right? And so they engage in this lower animalistic activity. So yeah, Prabhupada is saying that even damsels of heavenly planets are polluted by this. Rules and regulations, devotion service are based on this principle. Anything in touch with the Lord's feet of the Lord is immediately freed from all material contamination. But of course, that doesn't mean that we add to the contamination. We cannot say that, okay, then I won't take bath. I'll come without taking bath to the temple because anyway, everything is free from material contamination. But if I am in a contaminated state, then I contaminate. Otherwise, why there are rules and regulations? The rules and regulations are based on this principle that it is already free from contamination. Why are you going and contaminating it? So we have to keep contamination away, which is why Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are so many seva aparadas, like one who goes to the crematorium cannot come to go take bath, one who sees a dead body cannot come into the temple directly, one can't wear chappal and come into the temple. Why? Because these are all contamination. So we are expected to keep contamination outside the temple. But unfortunately, this simple rule is not understood, and that we should keep contamination away. In the name of bhakti, we bring contamination within the temple hall. It's a major seva aparad, bringing contamination to the temple hall. So we have to avoid it. The damsels of the heavenly planets, polluted by thoughts of sex life, come down to bathe in the sanctified rivers and enjoy sprinkling water on their husbands. Two words are very significant in this connection. Ratikarshitaha means that the damsels become morose after sex enjoyment. Although they accept sex enjoyment as a bodily demand, afterwards they are not happy. This is the consciousness. This is the arousal of higher consciousness. Is when you engage in some lower consciousness activity, you become unhappy. You're not happy. And the characteristic of a very exalted activity is when you engage in that and you normally become happy. And that is only there in which devotional life. When we engage in devotional life, we experience happiness. But when we engage in mundane, lower consciousness activities, we become unhappy. And somebody might say, no, no, I don't become unhappy. That means our consciousness is very low. Our consciousness is as this is animal consciousness. So then only animals, you know, they can, yeah, this whole um, consciousness is animalistic consciousness. But higher consciousness is when we do activities of lower consciousness and we are not happy about it. We feel disgusted. Then we are making progress. Another significant point is that Lord Govinda, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is described here as Tirtha Pada. Tirtha means sanctified place and Pada means lotus feet of the Lord. People go to a sanctified place to free themselves from all sinful reactions. In other words, those who are devoted to the lotus feet of the Supreme Person of Godhead automatically become sanctified. So such devotees don't have to go anywhere. They just become sanctified. They don't have to go to a sacred place for that. The Lord's lotus feet are called Tirtha Pada because under their protection there are hundreds and thousands of saintly persons who sanctify the sacred places of pilgrimage. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, a great Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, advises us not to travel to different places of pilgrimage. Undoubtedly, it is troublesome to go from one place to another, but one who is intelligent can take shelter of the lotus feet of Govinda and thereby be automatically sanctified as the result of his pilgrimage. Just taking shelter of Govinda is the pilgrimage, nothing else is required. Anyone who is fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Govinda is called Tirthapada. He does not need to travel on various pilgrimages, for he can enjoy all benefits of such travel simply by engaging in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, which we in Krishna consciousness do day in and day out. We engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, once, now and then, sometimes when we have time away from our preaching and other busy activities, we can also go to pilgrimage. Mm, Pilgrimage also has to be directly connected to Krishna and ideally connected to Vrindavan Krishna. That's our goal. So then, yeah, that those pilgrimages will help us to actually, we don't go to pilgrimages to actually purify ourselves as much as developing further attraction towards Krishna. That is why other pilgrimage places are really of not much use for those completely surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna. Uh, just by taking name of Krishna, we become purified. Now we go to other pilgrimage places, but we cannot develop. I mean, like I said, we don't go there to actually get sanctified because our activities themselves are good enough. Just taking the name of Krishna is good enough. That is for other people. So we should do pilgrimage such that we develop attraction to Krishna. Such a pure devotee who has implicit faith in the lotus feet of the Lord can create sacred places in any part of the world where he decides to remain. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. The places are sanctified due to the presence of pure devotees. Any place automatically becomes a place of pilgrimage if either the Lord or his pure devotee remains or resides there. Prabhupada said every temple is Vaikuntha. So just remaining within the temple, of course. Yatra gayanti mad bhaktaha tatra tishtami narada. Wherever there is sincere glorification of the Supreme Lord, Shravanam Kirtanam is going on, that is Vaikuntha, that is Goloka. Yeah, and of course, when great devotees, pure devotees, they come or reside, then naturally it just becomes sanctified. And which is why it is advised that we invite pure devotees to our homes so that our homes become purified. In other words, such a pure devotee who is engaged 100% in the service of the Lord can remain anywhere in the universe, and that part of the universe immediately becomes a sacred place where he can peacefully render service to the Lord as the Lord desires. Even in one ordinary looking statement, Prabhupada brings in pure devotional service. Says one, we could have just said, becomes a sacred place where he can peacefully render service to the Lord. How? Anukulyasya, as the Lord desires. So this is very, very important. We have to give up this mindset of trying to serve the Lord the way we want to serve the Lord. I want to play a guitar in Lord's service. Okay, Krishna, accept my guitar. Krishna said that I want Kartal Bidanga and big Kartal, Wampar. That's it. Don't bring me anything else. But then you say, no, no, Krishna, I like it. So please, you also like it. No, we have to do service the way Lord desires. And how do we know what Lord desires? Lord has told. Acharyas have made it explicit. So we better follow that. And that's when Krishna gets pleased. Uh, Samir Prabhupada says that, like Krishna's um, Krishna's food is basically Indian food. Uh, Specifically, you can say North Indian food because Krishna was there. Right, and he chose that place, and Vrindavan is in North India for a reason. Uh, so yeah, like uh, Indian food. So there's no Krishna doesn't eat pizza, pasta, burger. This is not Krishna's food. Of course, those who are living there in those areas, Prabhupada went to those areas only, and he introduced Indian Krishna's. That's why it's called Krishna's cuisine, isn't it? There are so many books on prasadam, cooking Krishna, what Krishna likes, Krishna cuisine. So this is what Lord desires. Now we might say, okay, I like pizza. Okay, let me make pizza, offer it to Krishna and eat. But that's lower platform. Higher platform is whatever Krishna likes, I will make. Even if it means I can't eat my favorite food, so-called favorite food. That is pure Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'll stop here. Anybody has any comments? Questions? Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, in starting you had mentioned like Lord Vishnu and Brahma knows present, future, and past. So they didn't went to Daksha sacrifice. Is it like it is not in the same platform, no, Prabhuji? Like Brahma is came from Vishnu, but why it has been
Yeah.
described like that?
Yeah. Okay. Good question. So see, Brahma becomes cognizant of the future because of the mercy of Vishnu. So because Brahma is taking care of this material world, so there are certain things that he needs to know. And to whatever extent he needs to know, Vishnu reveals those to Brahma. So it's not like Brahma is omniscient like Vishnu, but he is also omniscient to certain extent that is required for his post as creator, right? So because whenever there are some problems, demigods first run to Brahma. Brahma is their chief. Like he will guide them what needs to be done in terms of difficulties, etc. So many a times, Brahma, that is why is considered almost as powerful as Vishnu, with respect to creation. So he's been empowered. So he will know whatever is required. It's not like he knows everything. Many a times, see, like, for example, when Krishna has to appear, the demigods go with Brahma. Brahma does dhyana. I mean, he meditates on the Lord, and then Lord reveals to him. So like this, sometimes it is revealed before it is revealed to anybody else. Sometimes he knows, like almost Vishnu knows, he'll also know. So this is just like enablement, because we should understand Brahma is a jiva, but he's taken one role and is also considered, because he's considered as guna avatara. So he has certain powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thanks, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Good. Nice question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad pranam. This
Hare
is
Krishna.
known.
Dandavad Prabhu.
Yeah. So I think there's a good point of discussion. I mean, earlier, right? Like doing what Krishna wants versus what we want, and then applying it to Krishna. Because I mean, in one
Forcing
of
it
the
upon
lectures,
Krishna.
yeah, forcing it upon Krishna. Because
Yeah.
in one of the lectures, like back in Krishna life, right, back in Atlanta, so. Then when this was being presented, right, when this philosophy was being presented to the crowd there, to Americans, so one of the observations that was made was, okay, hey, if you look at the deities, if you look at the pictures, they all look like you guys, they're dressed up like you, God is dressed up like you, So basically, I mean, he made
Nice
a good point that, okay, we're making God look like us because we are dressed up in a such a way, right? And then and that was the point made by one of that was observation. But I mean, as I was thinking, I was like contemplating upon that point. Maybe it's the other way around, right?
Yes, the other way
Maybe we are
around.
just imitating what Krishna dresses, what
Children look like,
Radharani.
children
Yeah,
look like their father or mother, right? Not the other way around.
yeah,
Yeah. So
correct.
actually, we are dressing in the way Krishna wants us to dress, and that's why this whole process of following rules and regulations just make us align us with Krishna's likes.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. I think that's a good point because we should not be thinking that, okay, so why are we forcing things upon Krishna? It is basically what Krishna wants that we're trying to do. Yeah. And it's important to understand what Krishna wants.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Anything else? Okay, welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasta Kripa Sindhu Bhyo Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Antakoti Vaishnavebhyo ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.